Hello, everybody, and welcome back to From the Mezzanine. From the Mezzanine is the Broadway podcast for the Broadway fans. Where we talk about all things Broadway news, Broadway grosses, and let's be honest, all the tea that happens week to week in the Broadway stratosphere. I'm not your host.
I'm your host, Lindsay Stone. I am so excited to do this episode by myself this week.
Okay, restart.
Hi, Bren.
Hi, Lindsay.
Welcome back.
Thank you so much.
How are you feeling?
I'm a little energetic for a late Friday night.
Y'all are in for it again. The last time we did a late Friday night podcast up, we said some crazy things and they reached ears we never intended them to, in good ways.
True.
But we had to deal with our decisions, and tonight we're going to keep it together and we're not going to say anything we regret.
No.
Not that I take back anything that I said in the Brent Comer Deserves Justice episode. However, it's that energy we're bringing.
Yeah,
it.
like if I could just say something about that episode quickly. I know we were like joking about like him being the best actor on Broadway right now, and like, you know, we joked about Audra or whatever, but after the show we saw last night, I can confirm that Brent Comer was better than Idina Menzel. Lindsay's gonna cut that.
I am fighting for my life out here. Fighting for it. I won't agree.
That's so valid.
I just like can't say that.
No, that's so valid. You don't have to agree.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm glad we could come to this place. Anyways, welcome to From the Mezzanine, everybody. We have quite a lot in store, as Bryn mentioned, and she already is tarnishing the show that we saw, which I thought we were going to try to remain positive. But last night we saw Redwood, finally. Let's bring it back. Okay.
I'm ready.
We saw Redwood.
Yes, we did.
Finally, with Idina Menzel. And I was beyond excited last night.
Mm-hmm.
Like the thought of sitting in a theater, not only any theater, but the Nederlander, in which Idina Menzel originated the role of Maureen in Rent all those years ago.
Her Broadway debut.
So special. And I was feeling all the feels. And we've seen Idina Menzel on numerous occasions at events and things, at the Wicked 20th. Where else have we seen her? We've seen her.
Have you seen her somewhere else?
I feel like we have. I feel like we're forgetting something big.
Like, I went to the Redwood box office opening and she was there then.
Why do I feel like I saw her at something recently?
Like, was she at the Tonys? No.
She was.
Well, she was, but we didn't see her.
I feel like I saw her in something recently, but maybe it's just because her face is everywhere.
I feel like that would just...
We
that might
only
just
saw
be
her
it.
at the 20th?
No, I don't know when else I would have seen her.
Okay, anyways, not important.
The Broadway besties can come at us in the comments.
I seriously feel like
where
we're
we've
forgetting
talked about
something
seeing her.
big. Like we didn't see her at Gutenberg.
I'm just looking at all your big merch behind us.
I don't know what I feel like I'm forgetting. But anyways, yeah, just so excited because she is like my number one. I adore her as a person, as an artist, as a performer. I think she's so incredible. And I think that is what is pulling most people in to see this musical is Idina Menzel. Like,
100%.
even in the logo, it's not like this here, but when you see it on a website, it says Idina Menzel in huge letters over Redwood.
And the marquee is like that. Like, it's huge. Idina Menzel, Redwood.
Yeah, so it's all for her. And this musical truly feels like the Idina Menzel show. Very much so. My favorite thing about it, well, you get to sit and just revel in her and her talent. And that is a beautiful thing. And they have given you, as an Idina Menzel fan, they have given you what you are looking for. I feel like sometimes when you see a celebrity or a Broadway star that you adore in a show, you're like, I want you to do the thing, please. And Idina does the thing.
Yeah.
She has multiple power belt songs that just scratch that itch. You want to hear her just go into her high register and scream sing. And she does that multiple times. And those moments are so special in the musical.
I'm just thinking, I feel like a hug from that woman would like cure every problem I've ever had in my life.
Yeah. I love
Like she's
her.
just giving like warm mother on that stage. Like she just looks so kind.
Yeah.
And approachable and
Yeah.
normal and sweet.
And you can tell that this is her Heartwood. If you've seen the musical, you know what that means. But you can tell that this is her love. Like she has put her soul into this show, into this character, Jessie, who she plays. Let's tell a little bit about the plot.
Yeah, how much did you know about the plot going into it?
I knew it was like a middle-aged woman who was escaping, running away from life for one reason or another and going and immersing herself in nature. That's all I really knew.
Yeah, I knew like lesbians in trees.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that
lesbian.
she was married to a woman in the musical.
And I did give myself a spoiler on TikTok last week, unfortunately, but it was revealed very early on. But if you don't want a spoiler, maybe skip our little synopsis. But I did know in advance that her son was dead.
I can't remember. I don't think I knew that.
It's revealed pretty early.
Almost immediately, you can assume things are very wrong. And so basically, the musical takes off immediately. And she is running away. She's driving away. You don't necessarily know why, but she's clearly experiencing like a midlife crisis, a mental breakdown. And then boom, all of a sudden, she's driven from New York to California within one song. Like there's no like road trip. We don't see why she's left. It's just like she's leaving and then she's in California and laying on the ground. If you don't want spoilers, you should not listen to this synopsis, by the way. So anyways, she meets these forestry conservationist people who preserve the redwoods and are doing work in the forest. And she's like enamored with them and what they're doing. And she wants to be a part of it. So she's like begging, and she needs purpose in her life. That's pretty clear. She's begging them, please, please teach me how to climb the tree. And they're like, one of the people is like, absolutely not, it's against protocol. The other is like, well, he has a big heart and he wants to see her succeed, and he can tell she's going through something, and it's really unrealistic. But they're like, okay, we'll teach you how to climb a redwood.
I want to know how she ended up in the middle of the forest in the first place.
Yeah.
Because it goes from her driving to her laying on the ground.
On the ground, yeah.
To the tree showing up and then them being like, you can't be back here. I'm like, what do you...
Yeah.
How'd you get back there then?
Yeah. No, not explained. There's a lot of moments in the musical that are like, and now we're here, and now we're here, and now we're here.
It also is like basically no set. The way it's done is there's a lot of projection. Like there's massive screens
that cover the entire top half of the theater. So where there would be box seats, it's covered with screens. So it just covers everything you can see.
It's like 10 massive screens, I would say.
I was so curious while we were watching it how much it cost and if that allowed them to save money since they don't have a set or not. I have no idea because projections cost too. But
I know it's interesting to think about. But yeah, there's the screens and then there's the massive tree, which I'm sure you've seen if you've looked at any photos of the show. And then like one platform. So it was very interesting to like, you didn't really get a understanding of what was happening in the story based on the surroundings. Like you kind of had to figure it all out by what they were saying.
Yeah, and quite a bit of it was abstract with the projections. Not majority. Like when you're in the forest, you know you're in the forest, but she had a lot of flashbacks, which we'll talk about, and those would be like cut to white, cut to black, abstract like things. It was interesting. So anyways, wants to learn how to climb a redwood. They teach her. She climbs up and she's never felt so alive and she finally feels free. And should we say everything that happens? Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more.
Okay, so I'm going to have a hard time keeping everything like straight in order, so help me. So
meanwhile, all throughout this, she's also like ignoring calls from her wife who's back in New York. She's texting her to let her know that she's okay, but her wife is calling her being like, if you don't call me, I'm going to call the police.
Yeah. They have no idea where she is. Yeah.
And she like missed a big work event and she's kind of a workaholic. So it's like, oh my God, what's going on?
Yes. And so then eventually she does not want to face the facts and go back home. So she just keeps begging, like, let me stay in the redwoods with y'all. And so she spends 10 days on the platform up in the Redwood, 10 days. And so that's a really big climactic moment where you're like, okay, something's going to go wrong. What's going to happen while she's up there? Before that, there's like another climax that happens where it's like, oh, she's finally going to spend her first night on the platform up in the tree. And it's very lucid, dreamy, LSD trip vibe. And she starts speaking to the tree. The tree speaks back. The tree's name is Stella. She might be like seriously having a mental break, and it's wild. So anyways, we're not going to get into my critiques yet. So next part, she stays up there for 10 days and then there's a wildfire out of nowhere. I'm sorry. Okay.
There was a little bit of foreshadowing when one of the forest workers was like, here's your weather radio. You have to listen because you'll have to come down if something happens.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there was a literal wildfire.
So they're freaking out. The fog envelops the entire theater, not the stage.
Like up to the mezzanine
Yeah.
amount of fog.
And so she's up there. We think she's going to die. And she sees her son, who we learn passed away from an accidental overdose, and he sings a really really good song, one of the best songs in the musical to her, about like life is worth the living. And they actually sampled Justin Bieber. No, I'm kidding. I said life is worth the living. Colorful. Why would it be that?
I don't know. I don't know. Okay. I thought you meant Justin Bieber like recorded a sample for the show.
Crazy.
Idina Menzel has sway.
Oh, okay.
That's Elsa.
Yeah.
Don't disrespect her name.
And they do make a call out to that.
Which I'm
Anyways.
so curious. Do they make the Disney princess call back like joke when the understudy's on?
They just probably don't make it into a meal.
Like into
Idina turns around
Yeah.
and was like, I'm sure that it's just like, you are, and it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Or maybe they, instead of saying Disney princess, they just say like, you are a princess, instead of like making it specific. Anyways, so wildfire, son dead, is back and singing to her and telling her to live on. And then she just picks up the phone, calls her wife and says, I want to come home. What happens after that? I literally can't remember.
I think that's kind of it.
Yeah, is that it?
Meanwhile, one of the park rangers, people, whatever you want to call them, he has a weird relationship with his son. And then you find out that the other park ranger's house burnt down in a wildfire when she was like 11. There's just like so many layers. And what I will say is I feel like our recap right now feels very disjointed.
But that's
I'm
because
not going to lie, the plot of the show felt very disjointed.
Yeah. So it certainly was. I want to talk about the good things first.
Okay, let's talk about the good things because there are good things.
So first of all, I think so many people are going to see this musical and feel very seen and connected to it. I think a lot of mothers are going to see this and think, oh my gosh, I have felt that, where you just feel like you need to run away. You're so overwhelmed. People who have dealt with big grief in their life are going to be able to relate to it. And for those reasons, I can see an audience for this musical. I think a lot of people are going to see it who are not going to connect with it. Like Bryn and I, we did not have that, wow, I feel this musical in my heart moment, but I do think people will.
I think people will. I think it's interesting because there are a lot of musicals and shows that talk about death, but not as many that talk about grief. And I think that's very interesting to like see the grief journey in a musical, because I think, you know, grief is what I study all the time. And it is truly like the most universal experience in life. So I do think that it's really special that there is that story being told on a stage. I do think that's really cool.
Yeah, agreed. Another part of the musical that I think is really interesting that you can't get anywhere else on Broadway is the rappelling aspect. That was fascinating.
Oh, very cool.
And so basically they like truly rappel all the way up this redwood that they have on the stage. And then in some of the songs, they'll do these dance almost ballet moves, like rappelling from the tree and back. I thought that was interesting. It's reminiscent of Tarzan when that was on Broadway. It's very similar to that. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, they definitely are doing like legit climbing, like the gear that they have on, the harnesses, like it's legit. It's not like fake Broadway climbing.
I'm sure it is though.
Well, I'm sure they're being assisted at the top, especially Idina. Like, I don't think she's pulling her own body weight up the tree.
Yeah.
But they're wearing real harnesses.
Yeah. And then another thing that I think is just always special is that it's an original musical. It is very entertaining. You don't know where it is leading. And sometimes that's to its detriment, because I do think the writing of this musical could have used a lot of help before coming to Broadway. But you gotta love original works where you can't predict or go in knowing exactly what's going to happen and what to expect.
Yeah, there were a lot of aspects of it that were very cool.
What do you got?
I thought the lighting was really nice. I did enjoy that. Some of the songs are great. I agree that I think the climbing was very cool. We got to see Idina Menzel's feet. I'm just bringing that up because 2 weeks ago, Lindsay made fun of me and said that I was going to go back just for the dogs out on stage.
And you will.
I will. Yeah, I think that's kind of what's coming to the top of my head.
Okay, so now let's get into our critiques. I think the biggest thing is just the plot and the story and the book that was written. There are too many climaxes. There are too many high points where you're like, we're here, we've reached the mountaintop, one more song and we're leaving. Like, I had multiple moments of that.
It's just so focused on the main woman, Jessie, Idina Menzel's story, but then they try and add in points about other people's stories, but it's like, don't just make it about her. Go as far into her as you want to.
Yeah.
It's a 2-hour-long musical with no intermission. You could have cut 20 minutes of the other people's storylines and just really made it about this woman. You don't need to I don't really care about the depths of these other characters, because you end up just scratching the surface with them so minimally. But then we could have learned so much more about her and then cared more about her and connected more with her.
Yeah.
But we missed a lot of like her history and her life because there was time filled with these weird little notes of these other people's lives.
Yeah, and it's a small cast, so you would think that we would be able to get to know everybody well, but something about it just doesn't work. These side characters sometimes have more than one solo song, which is just not typical at all, and I can see why it isn't. The worst thing about any musical is when they start singing and you're like, wait, why are we singing?
Yeah, there are a lot of songs.
Yeah, they definitely should have cut some, and that's so unfortunate. Like, I feel like most people would be like, why would you ever want to cut a song? You know, you paid your ticket price, but it's like, if it interferes with the plot, it just isn't, it's just not helpful. It's not driving the plot forward. Ugh, I hate to say it, but that's a huge problem with this musical.
What's your favorite song?
I love Great Escape. I've listened to that one for a really long time, and it's their like titular song, and I think they did it really awesomely, and it's like the big power belt that Idina has. Make my great escape. I hated the pink sunset that they did.
So weird.
Some of the projections were really bizarre, and like I said, like lucid dreamy, nonsensical. Like when she was like soaring above the redwoods, I was like, what are we doing? Like, no, just keep her in the tree. Like, we don't need to, it just is detached. It doesn't make any sense.
If you get motion sick easily, it could totally happen in this show.
Yeah.
When we first went in, I was like, whoa, I'm worried I'm gonna feel sick, because it was so many screens all around you and it was so bright. I didn't have any issues with it. And I've had issues with shows in the past making me feel motion sick.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So it was fine for me. But there were definitely times that I'm like, if you might have to close your eyes.
What was your favorite song?
I like the song that the Sun sings.
Yeah, that was very good.
Well, you're alive, live, or
life is worth the living. That one. Yeah. I would see the musical again, though. I do think, though it has critiques, if you love Idina Menzel, you will not be disappointed. I wonder how long it's going to run. I don't really want to make a prediction. It's hard to say. I could see it running for a year. I don't know.
Yeah, end of summer.
Yeah.
End of the year, maybe. I don't know if it'll make it into next year.
Mm-hmm.
I just think a show that's based off of one person's fame can only last so long.
Right. And I think that they know what they have.
Yes.
So I hope that it wasn't super expensive. I don't think it's going to close within the next 3 months.
I think it'll stay for Tony's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There were so many little moments where I was like, this feels like Dear Evan Hansen, because they're in the trees.
Oh.
And like Dear Evan Hansen is like, he's falling, like he fell from a tree. That's how he broke his arm.
Wait,
he fell out of the
how did they
trees.
do the tree in Dear Evan Hansen?
There was no tree. He just like tells the story. He starts the show with his arm broken.
Oh, okay.
And then, you know, the actor who plays Jesse's son was an Evan standby in Dear Evan Hansen, and Jesse's understudy was one of the moms in Dear Evan Hansen, and one of the
Zachary Noah
Rangers.
Pizer.
Yes, I love Zachary Noah Pizer. He was the standby. He did like 1 to 2 shows a week as Evan for like 2 years.
I loved his voice.
He's so good. He was in K-pop after Dear Evan Hansen, and then came to this. And then Michael Park, who plays, I think his name Finn.
Finn.
He was also in Dear Evan Hansen.
Oh wow! And then Jessica Phillips.
And then it's the same PR team as Dear Evan Hansen.
Oh, it is. Oh yeah. But then is it the same casting team like we talked about?
I'm sure it's the same casting team.
Gotta be. It's very interesting.
But it just like was so. I'm like, family issues and a dead son in trees.
Oh,
whoa,
yeah, the parallels.
Yeah, just like weird little parallels.
That is bizarre. That is super weird. Anyways, my big questions that this left me with are: 1, why does every leading lady on Broadway have to be in the midst of a mental breakdown? We have Audra, who is so mentally unstable. Sorry, Gypsy, not Audra. Love you, Audra. Which, by the way, not a story, but Kamala was at Gypsy.
I know.
That's so cool.
She also went to A Wonderful World.
Oh, she did?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Black History Month.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We love it.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
No, did you see the video of her in the audience at Gypsy before the show starts? Everyone is standing cheering. She's just standing.
For her.
She's like waving.
Yeah.
It made me cry.
Yeah. That's so cool.
So cool.
Love that. Okay, but Gypsy, Mama Rose, incredibly mentally unstable. Norma Desmond, do I even need to say? So off her rocker. And now Jessie, who is very much so in the midst of a mental crisis.
I'm like thinking of
so why is that? Like, I beg the question, Broadway. Like, why is that?
Satine is dying.
Yeah, but like I'm saying leading lady.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Like a musical that is, she is the lead. Like Christian is the lead at Moulin Rouge, not her. Like
Elphaba?
This is true. Elphaba and Glinda, they break the mold. Okay, who else do we got?
But I wouldn't say that they're like super stable.
They're stable. It's like the point of these leading ladies is their instability.
I see what you mean.
Like they are going through.
I wonder how much you know about Queen of Versailles. Like, what is Kristen Chenoweth's character?
Oh,
like?
I mean, they're bankrupt.
Yeah, so she's probably unstable.
Yeah. No, she is.
Yeah.
What else? What else has a? I was trying to think. I didn't think of Wicked, which is crazy, but what else has a female lead? But that's what I'm saying. Like the men, like Ponyboy, he's good.
Ponyboy's not good.
Ponyboy's good. Christian, Moulin Rouge, he's good. Like these men are like so fine. They're just like the vessel for their storytelling.
In what world is Ponyboy fine?
Ponyboy's so good.
Ponyboy's parents are both dead.
But he's not like mentally unstable. He's just telling his story.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like
Jay Gatsby is mentally unstable.
No, I don't think that he is.
He's a con man.
That doesn't make him. That's like the smallest part of that musical.
He built a house so that he could stare at someone else's house.
I don't know. I just feel like male leads don't have to try so hard, and then female leads, it's like only and all anybody wants to see is you having a
Allie in
breakdown.
Hell's Kitchen.
Okay, that's good. She's fine.
She's stable.
She's stable.
She's good.
Juliet and Juliet. She's good, right? No.
Hey, she's pretty good.
Yeah, she's pretty good.
She's pretty fine.
Okay, well, I just feel like we're in the era of this trope.
Yeah,
and I just wanted to make sure we were all aware of it.
It's also like the Broadway legends can only play mentally unstable women.
It's weird to me.
You know?
I just want to make sure we were all aware.
Yeah, we're all aware.
Okay, good. And then my other big question is, what is Broadway's obsession with bringing the dead back to life for one more song? Ugh. I don't like that trope.
That was my biggest criticism of Sus.
I know, yeah.
I hated when they brought Inez back to life just to walk around in her little angel costume for that one song.
I do love that song.
Phenomenal song, but her being on stage was not needed.
I hate that. It's like, you're dead. Go away. And they bring them back and they like walk. And it's just like, it's such a trope. It's overdone.
I thought she was dying.
Yeah.
I thought she was crossing over and meeting him in heaven.
That scene needs some work.
And all of a sudden, he's just standing at the back of the stage for like 5 more minutes.
Yeah, yeah. Granted, that was your favorite song, but it would have.
But was it my favorite song because of its plot point, or was it my favorite song because I love a man's voice like that in a cool, slow, kind of sad song?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I knew that was going to be your favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm over the bringing the dead back to life for one more song. I'm over it, Broadway, okay? Can we stop writing it into our musicals? I just think that there's a part of the writer who's like, I'm not ready to let this character go, so they bring them back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, no, let them go.
Dead Mom.
Hey, Mom. Dead Mom. I need a little help here.
It's a great song.
It's a good karaoke song. I sing it.
I want to see Beetlejuice again. Did you hear the rumor that it's coming back to Broadway?
I did. There
for
is
like
a rumor.
The holiday season next year, kind of like what Elf did.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I'm so down.
I would love that. They say that Beetlejuice is going to end their national tour on Broadway.
Yeah,
which is cute because it's like Beetlejuice. This would be their 3rd time coming back to Broadway in the span of 5 years.
Can you imagine? Then like Alex Brightman does it for 2 months on Broadway.
Hey, Mom. I could be your Lydia. Dead Mom. I need a little help here. This is my audition. I'm probably talking to
my friend who's an actress. I actually
here.
think she'd be a good Lydia.
You don't think I would be?
No. I don't know if you can act.
Anyways, so Bryn, it's been really nice having you on the podcast.
Guys.
Do you just want to like take your stuff with you when you go? Don't let the door hit you on your way out.
Did you miss me? I never said you couldn't act. I said I don't know if you can.
That was a crazy thing to say, but it's fine. I'm going to just move past that. And
do you have an agent?
Yeah, you. Let's just sidestep that conversation. You know I'm a Cancer. I am emotional.
I'm a Cancer too.
Say sorry.
Sorry.
Say you think I can act.
I'm sure you can act.
Okay, thank you. Let's get into the Broadway grosses. Number 1, we have... Sing it.
I'd sooner by defying gravity.
Wicked is number 1 at 2.6 mil.
Wow.
Number 2? Hamilton is 1.9 million at number 2. The Lion King?
Hakuna Matata.
Beautiful. Number 3. 4? This is high for them.
Pony Boy, this house ain't a home without you. Not their top ticket being $497.
That is very high for outsiders. At number 4, All In, a comedy about love, is number 5, raking in the dough in their last week on Broadway at 1.5 million. Did I say that? Did I say that twice?
I don't know.
Okay. Romeo and Juliet is number 6 in their last week on Broadway. So that's high for them. They had been ranking not even in the top 10. So that is an indication of that last week being crazy. Tell us about it.
It's such a small theater. So For context, they have 6,300 seats. Wicked has 15,400 seats. So they've been making over $1 million every week, and they've been selling out. They sold out standing room their entire run, which is crazy. But so for their final week, this top ticket price is wrong because I was in the box office 2 days before their closing show, and the screen said between $477 and $977.
Oh my god!
I went on Valentine's Day. We rushed. We got there at 5 a.m, and we missed the rush tickets by one person. The person in front of us got the last ones.
Oh my
and let
god.
me just say that they were already selling their rush tickets for $99 that week. Like they doubled their standing room price to $99 for both the lottery and in-person rush, which like, why, if you're making people line up for hours, why are you doing that? It's a show. They announced that they had the youngest audience ever recorded in Broadway history, which I think must be wrong.
Why?
Because, okay, here's the thing. They get that data by doing a survey once or twice a year where Broadway League comes in and they put papers on seats and you fill out the survey. So maybe there were a bunch of 14-year-olds filling out surveys. The Lion King, the 4-year-olds aren't going to be the ones to fill out the surveys.
That's valid. Yeah.
So it's going to be skewed. Like there's no way that there were more like young people at Romeo and Juliet than at The Lion King or Aladdin or Frozen. Like, I just don't believe it because the 4-year-olds that go to Lion King are going to average out with the adults.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what I think. But for a show that thrived on like the teenage audience to make your rush tickets $99.
I didn't know they did that.
I know. It's actually terrible. Like I was so irritated, but I did it anyway. We missed the tickets by one person. So we ended up getting tickets for $199. Which is insane. But we thought about rushing again the next day, and we were like, no. We sat outside for 5.5 hours, and a Saturday is going to be even crazier because there's no school, and they weren't doing Rush for the closing show. So it was the last day of Rush. So whatever, we went. It was so worth it. There was a proposal on stage at the end of the show, which was so cute. For the Saturday shows, people got there at 10:30 p.m. the night before.
I saw a TikTok about that.
And they were in line for 11.5 hours. By 2 a.m., there were 8 people in line.
Oh, my God.
So I'm really happy we didn't rush the Saturday. And then we also went on Sunday for the closing, which was lovely. It was very fun. I actually thought the Friday night show was a better show because I think they were just like having fun and being silly. Whereas at the closing, they knew like a lot of important people were there. So they weren't like being quite as goofy with it. But yeah, I'm proud of them. They recouped their investment, which is very exciting. I'm not surprised, but it shows that they can take you can do weird things on Broadway and make it work. Like, who would have thought that the 37th revival of Romeo and Juliet with a group of teenagers with stuffed animals, like modernized with music by Jack Antonoff, would make as much money as they did. I think it was also a really low budget production. Like I think they only invested $7 million, which is not that much for a Broadway show.
Yeah,
no.
Not at all.
And there was like no set really. But yeah, that's their closing weekend. It's crazy. People paid upwards of $1,000 for tickets to that closing show.
Wow. You went to the closing though.
Yeah. We paid $180. We bought them in November.
That's awesome. I never ended up seeing it, you guys, which is also crazy.
Tragic.
We just need to plan better. And by we, I mean me.
I was going to say it's you because I bought rush tickets one day in November when you had no plans. And I asked if you wanted to come and you said no.
Yeah, no, I know. It's like I want to just wait it out if I can. And then I like lose the opportunity. So yeah, I know I need to be better about it. Going when I can.
I don't know how much you would have liked it anyway.
I would have liked to seen it for sure. I like Romeo and Juliet. I love the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. So I think I would have really liked it actually.
It was funny on Friday night, the Valentine's Day show. We were coming up from the bathroom and immediately behind me was this actress named Tiernan Turncliffe who was in the original cast of Anne Juliet.
Oh, wow.
and was in it for like 3 years. You will know who they are when you see their picture. And I like turned around and I was like, oh my God, I saw you and Angelette like so many times. You were amazing. And we had the nicest conversation ever. They were there with their girlfriend. They like introduced me. We had this full conversation.
So
I was like, is it
cute.
really weird seeing like another iteration of Romeo and Juliet on Broadway? Because Tiernan met her girlfriend at Anne Juliet because the girlfriend works backstage. So they like both worked at Anne Juliet. And they said that it was funny, like all the little references and, you know, finding it all out. So
that's
shout
cute.
out. It was
Love
a lovely
it.
conversation.
Well, thank you for being our Romeo and Juliet correspondent.
You're
and
welcome.
That closes the storybook on Romeo and Juliet.
Sadly.
Yeah. But you squeezed everything you could out of that production.
I did. I don't think I would have wanted to see it anymore.
Gypsy is number 7. Sing us a song.
Everything's coming up, Kurt.
MJ is 8. The Great Gatsby is 9. They've been out of the top 10 for a long time. So that goes to show Sarah Hyland is bringing people in.
This was also a holiday weekend, so it is good to mention.
Yeah. And Death Becomes Her is coming in at number 10 at 1.3 million, doing very, very well, 97% capacity. Sunset Boulevard has been bumped out of the top 10. I do believe that there were some days whenever Mandy Gonzalez was on, so that could be why. Some things to watch, though.
I feel like Hell's Kitchen jumped up a bunch. I don't know. I feel are they usually that high? Usually,
I
like,
think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I would say so. Like all the mid-range musicals are like Hell's Kitchen, Cabaret, Moulin Rouge, and Juliet doing really well. Redwood is doing pretty well. They grossed just under 1 million, and they had 96% capacity. But this is accounting for when they were still in previews. Maybe Happy Ending is right below Redwood at 96% capacity. Our lowest musicals are Operation Mincemeat is a musical. I don't think I knew that.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't count because they had just
opened. One performance and it sold out 100%.
I didn't know it was a musical.
Yeah, I was really irritated with Operation Mincemeat because my friend went to rush it on Monday for their second preview, and we went on Saturday, and they said, yeah, we're doing Rush. And I was like, okay, do you know what time people got here today? He said, no. Whatever. We were like, okay, we'll come Monday. He was like, okay. My friend goes Monday. She's like 15th in line. They open the doors. First person goes up. They go, yeah, we're not selling Rush today.
That's so ridiculous.
Like, what do you mean you're not selling Rush? You don't have like a certain number of tickets that are always going to be Rush? You're just not selling Rush? Maybe advertise that.
You have to advertise that. I would be so irritated. So our lowest musicals are A Wonderful World, Chicago, Oh Mary, which is really interesting because it was doing so well.
Not a musical.
Oh, true. And then 6 and Hadestown are also pretty low. So just keep your eye out on those. 6 did just recast, so we might see a bump in attendance, but that won't last long. It's similarly to Wicked, where they cast people who are not well known, but are up and comers on Broadway, which is absolutely incredible, but they're not necessarily going to bring in a crowd with them.
One of the new cast members of 6 was from the Toronto run of 6.
I
think she's from Toronto.
Slay.
Yeah, we love Canadians on Broadway.
Sure we do. Our first news story.
A British accent.
I don't know how to do a Canadian.
Sorry.
Well, yeah. Okay, our first news story, everybody. I love Tony Award news because I just love talking about it. I love daydreaming about it. I love thinking about where I'll be on Tony Awards Day. Knock on wood. So we have our host, ladies and gentlemen.
And it is iconic.
I couldn't picture anybody better.
No.
It's Cynthia Erivo.
Like, come on.
Cynthia will be our host for the 78th Tony Awards.
Yeah, because that says 77.
I'm right?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I know.
No, it's literally
love the Tonys.
so iconic.
So,
it's so good.
Cynthia has had so many iconic moments with the Tony Awards. What comes to my mind is when Wakina Kulakonga won Best Actress for Paradise Square. She announced it. Cynthia did. Do you remember that? You might have not known who she was at the time.
I don't think so, but I definitely watched it.
Their reaction to her winning was the most wholesome thing in the world. And since I had seen Paradise Square, I was like crying with them. We'll rewatch it.
I just think it's such a good way to play into the massive hype that Wicked is getting this year and has over the last, 6 months and will when the second movie comes out. And I think by using her and advertising it in the
Ugh.
right way, they're going to draw so many new people in to watch the Tonys.
Yes, and Ariana's absolutely going.
100%.
And they're definitely going to do something. Maybe they'll sing together.
Yeah.
Probably.
I'm sure something's going to happen. Like,
you know,
it's the biggest movie musical of all time with one of the biggest Broadway musicals of all time.
That's so exciting.
Because didn't they present together last year?
No, Idina and Cynthia presented last year together.
Oh, okay.
It was the Alpha Buzz. So, yeah, I couldn't picture anybody better, even if I tried. This is so spot on. Cynthia said in a statement when they announced it, quote, I am so proud and excited to take on this glorious honor. I'm looking forward to ushering the theater community at large through a night that celebrates the wonderful performances we have witnessed throughout the year. I hope I can rise to the occasion.
And it's back at Radio City where it belongs.
I'm excited for Radio City for sure. It's going to be hectic. I don't love it for the fans because it's going to be hard to like watch from afar. And I've been there and I'll be there again if I have to. Knock on wood.
Lincoln Center was pretty closed off though.
Very closed off, but I think Radio City would be harder to close off. Just because those are such used streets and stuff.
No. And that's what I mean. Like, I feel like they fully just, you could not, as a fan, get anywhere near Lincoln Center.
Yeah. But I think Radio City, you're saying it will be a little easier. Yeah, they really had it on lockdown.
I think the Palace was probably the easiest.
Oh, it was the best.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is awesome. Iconic. I cannot wait to see what Cynthia brings. I think she's going to, yes, bring so many people in to watch who wouldn't have. But I think just for her, this is so special.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think she understands the gravity of the situation. And she's just going to do an amazing job. She's going to be a perfect host.
I just want her to win an Oscar so bad because then she'll be an EGOT. And I think she'll be the youngest EGOT ever.
Yeah, well, there's hope. She may.
We'll find out next weekend.
Our next news story is so expected. Like, this is not unexpected. Because why wouldn't this occur? Jordan Fisher is our next Christian at the Moulin Rouge, everybody.
He's the most employed, like the busiest man on Broadway. Him and Alex Brightman.
You know what I was thinking? I was like, is his rate just really low?
No, I think he brings a lot of people in.
He does. He definitely does. But he is being in everything.
I know.
Everything.
The way he went from Sweeney to Hadestown to Urinetown to this so fast. I think he will bring like a younger group of fans into Moulin Rouge that didn't get into, like, have never gotten into it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yes, for sure. I think Moulin Rouge has a super diverse audience, which is why they've been so successful. And I do think that they cater towards a younger demographic as well. But yeah, he's definitely going to bring them in. We haven't had a stunt cast that brought in younger people. Like JoJo is more millennial crowd. Of course, like Boy George, Titus Burgess, they bring in honestly like the same to older. So yeah, you're right. This is going to bring in a younger group. I can't say like personally as a Moulin Rouge fan, this doesn't change anything for me. I'm not like freaking out, screaming, crying, throwing up. I've somehow avoided Jordan Fisher unintentionally. Like Urinetown, I saw his understudy, but I was totally happy with that. Sweeney Todd, y'all know, he didn't do anything for me. I think he seems like the best person ever, but I don't know. I'm not gonna run to go and see it with him. Like I'm running to see it with John and Zolea.
Yes.
But I'm like Jordan Fisher, like he can do anything. But
I will see.
But
Jordan.
I kind of like. This
I
is
think
crazy,
his voice
but
in those songs will be so good.
I just think he plays what you expect. Like, here's an example. Like, Jeremy Jordan is so recognizable, so talented, similarly to Jordan Fisher. But Jeremy will do something unexpected to make you, like, love and like fawn over him more. I feel like Jordan Fisher doesn't do that.
I don't think you've seen him enough. Because
you don't
I
think
found
that's
him
true?
so his portrayal of Orpheus made me actually like Hadestown.
Okay, valid.
And then
okay, valid.
he was so much more like fun and silly, goofy in Urinetown than he like. Yeah, I think you need. I think you need to see him in other things. He is like a very distinct guy. Like he brings a lot of himself to every role he plays, for sure.
Yeah. I just feel like I know what to expect.
Interesting.
But you're right. I mean, I've only ever seen him in Sweeney, but I've seen him perform otherwise. Like I've watched him perform in Hadestown and things like that. I know it's not equal.
And we like saw him at Elsie Fest and whatever. But I think Sweeney Todd was like the worst portrayal of his abilities.
Okay.
Like that's such a nothing role to me in general in Sweeney.
Yeah, it is.
Like it's pretty, you know,
basic.
There's not like a ton of character development that happens. But like his Orpheus.
And the really cool thing
unreal
is that we are bringing back together the Orpheus and Eurydice that so many people loved, Jordan Fisher and Soleil Pfeiffer, who's currently Satine at Moulin Rouge. So they're bringing it back. So that's really special.
I'm honestly really shocked that John Cardoza is already leaving.
He must have something else.
That's exactly what I thought. I was like, he must be leaving for some other reason.
He has something else, I'm sure.
Because otherwise, I'm sure he would have done a full year.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it is? Do you think it's a new Broadway musical?
Yeah, for sure. So here's the facts, and we can talk about that once we have the dates.
Is he going on tour with The Notebook?
No, I don't think so. So Jordan Fisher is going to begin at the Rouge on April 15th for a limited engagement through July 20th. John Cardoza will be playing his final performance on April 13th.
Jordan Fisher would love to say limited engagement and then be there for a year.
Yeah.
Like he was in Hadestown for 13 months.
Yeah.
After saying he was going to be there for 2.
Yeah. No, for sure. And yeah, so April for John. That opens up like a summer show.
Mm-hmm. You got to find a free theater.
But of course he could be going and joining the cast of The Outsiders. He could be like something like that. Like it doesn't have to be new.
Yeah.
He could be Orpheus.
Interesting.
Now that would get me back. All we have to do is say it on the pod and it comes true. I actually do want John Cardoza as Orpheus because I don't even know how it goes, but the really high like la 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 song, like John would be so good.
La 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 la.
Maybe he would be really good as Maybe they're doing a little swap.
That just feels kind of random to me. I don't know.
And Hadestown needs help right now. Could be Outsiders. We're having a lot of turnover there.
I actually think we're going to have less turnover than we think there is.
But I mean, in the ensemble and stuff, like things are changing.
Yes, but he's not going to be an ensemble.
No, but who would he even play?
Exactly. I think less people are leaving than everyone has made it out to be.
No, I think so too. I think it's because we're all like fear mongering.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else? It's gonna be something like that. It's gonna be something that's already on Broadway.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. Unless maybe he's going to do like an out of town tryout for the summer of a new musical that's then trying to come to Broadway.
He wouldn't leave for that though.
Yeah, he would.
I don't think
people
so.
do that all the time.
I don't think he would leave Moulin Rouge that soon to do something that's like a not sure thing.
But like, I'm pretty sure he left whatever he was doing to go do The Notebook in Chicago, knowing it was going to go to Broadway.
But he was on a national tour for Moulin Rouge then, so it's kind of like...
Yeah.
Like he's on Broadway right now in a role he loves. Like there's something big.
You never know. That's what I always say.
Well, of course you never know.
Like Shoshana Bean. She left Hell's Kitchen to go do some weird out of town tryout.
That's true.
Betsy Wolf, she's about to do an off Broadway tryout.
Yeah. Do you
people
think he
love
could go
new
over to
works.
Anne Juliet?
No.
I'm just trying to think what fits his aesthetic.
They also all signed 1-year contracts. They made it very obvious.
I love John Cardoza. That's a priority still to see that show. So yeah, yes. that's our Moulin Rouge news.
George come.
I will say that there are whispers, there are rumors that Jordan Fisher is closing out Moulin Rouge. You haven't heard that?
Do you think that would actually happen? Why?
I heard it. I heard it.
It's like all the conspiracy. Like, I
don't know.
don't believe that. Like, everyone is like, watch out for Hadestown. They're not making that much money. They're selling out 100%. I don't like with the way that new musicals are coming in and closing within like 3 months. As a theater, why would you like?
I don't know. I don't think it makes any sense for
It
the
makes
production
no sense
whatsoever. It's so dumb. They have recouped years ago. And so I don't understand why they would close. They're making plenty of money. They've fully customized that theater. They are settled. I don't know why they would leave. They're doing very well. But that is what I've heard. I just want to prepare people.
I think it's fear mongering.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I heard it from the same source that said Jordan Fisher was coming. And then
did you hear about Jordan Fisher coming before?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea.
Yeah, so that's why I think it's true. I meant to tell you that when you sent me the thing. I was like, that's what I heard, is that he's coming.
Is it you know
and then
who?
He's gonna, mm-hmm.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you all know who we're talking about. Don't act like you don't.
Okay, so let's get into our last news story. And it is that we finally have a date for the Maybe Happy Ending cast album.
I am so convinced that there was some delay in production or something with this one song. And that is why they didn't announce this at the fan event last week.
What?
Like, there must have been something with, like, they couldn't release the song a week ago. Like, there was a reason why it wasn't, like, ready yet or something. Because why would you plan a huge fan event, like the one that they did, to then a week later announce the cast album?
Yeah. So they did release a song when we're recording it today. On February 21st, they released a random song to be the first one to go, but nevertheless, we're happy to have it. The Rainy Day We Met, which is a really cute love song between the two lovey robots, and it's about them just fantasizing about their love and how they met.
I was very intrigued by the amount of dialogue that they included.
I know. I was
in the recording.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, if you include this much dialogue in every song, we get the whole show.
Basically.
And that's a lot of songs.
It's 26 songs. They've released the track list. A lot. And when I'm just looking at these songs, I'm just reminded by how much I love these songs. And we have Why Love. We have Goodbye My Room. Jenny.
But a lot of these are like filler moments. Like,
yeah, we do.
Charger Exchange Ballet.
Yes. And the Why Love James piano solo. We get
What I Learned from People.
We basically get everything that is played in the musical.
Touch
the reprises,
sequence.
Everything. But
Then I Can Let You Go. That's one of my faves.
We are going to be getting a bonus track, and it's Why Love live in Amsterdam, May 1948, the Gil Brantley Jazz Orchestra.
Wow.
So that's going to be awesome. I'm so excited.
I'm really excited.
March 14th, guys, we are getting the full cast album.
It's not too far at all.
No, thank God.
Yeah.
We can't wait any longer.
No, so that makes me for sure think that there was something with this one single release, because also announcing it only like 3 weeks before is like really close. Like, they totally would have made sense if they announced it last week.
Something definitely happened, but oh well, we're happy to have it. We can't wait. We love you. Maybe Happy Ending.
That's the way that it has to be.
What do you think is going to be your most played?
I love Then I Can Let You Go. I love Maybe Happy Ending. World Within My Room. Hitting the Road. We're finally hitting the road. That was so bad.
There's so many that
What do
are
you
so
think
good.
yours will be?
Definitely World Within My Room.
Mm-hmm.
And
what is Tell Me About the Fireflies, please?
I mean, it sounds like whenever she does her like, fireflies are the most That's what it sounds like to me. What's the one that I really like? I can't remember. It's when they're about to wait. If you haven't seen it, fast forward. What's the one I really like when they're about to say that they love each other? Is it A Sentimental Person? Yeah.
Never Fly Away? A Sentimental Person
Never Fly Away. It is.
The Gil Brantley one.
Yeah, but I think
I'm not a sentimental
Yeah, but don't they sing
person.
together?
No. Touch sequences when they hug for the first time.
Is there not a song that's in between? It's like right when they get back. So it has to be Sentimental Person. Because it's right when they get back from their trip.
Maybe it's touch sequence.
Anyways,
Or maybe it's Then I Can Let You Go.
we can't wait.
Then I
Counting down the
Can
days to
Let
March
You
15th.
Go. We should do a ranking. Of
We
the
will.
album after.
Okay, you can find that on YouTube.
It'd be fun.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for watching or listening to this episode of From the Mezzanine. You can find From the Mezzanine on Instagram and TikTok at From the Mezzanine Broadway. You can find all the From the Mezzanine things on FromTheMezzanine.com. But thank you for watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify. Bryn, tell them where they can find you.
I am at Brianna Harvey Raymond on Instagram and TikTok.
That's right.
That's me.
Thank you. We'll see the Broadway besties over on the Patreon. Bye. I'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye.